Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another Webinar Wednesday. This is hosted by XenTegra. Today we have with us HYCU, which is a very good conversation we have around ransomware and your digital workspace. Before we get into that, I'm going to go ahead and give you a little background and information about XenTegra and myself. If you're not aware, if you are, you get to hear it again. So first off, we have the Work Has No Boundaries contest that's now available again from XenTegra. You can use the QR code to go there and you'll see everything that you would have to complete to be able to enter for the possibility of winning a brand new Bronco. So go ahead and follow the QR code. And you can also get it from our main page. When you go out there, you'll see the link to go into the Work from No Boundaries and enter there as well. So who is XenTegra? XenTegra itself, we are a solutions provider. We are focused on enablement within our partners. And our partners are you, the customers, as well as our partner community with solutions. We build a community around these solutions. And again, we're focused within that digital workspace arena. Really breaks into a digital transformation and strategic planning as it's concerned with migrations, whether it be within your data center or within the cloud itself. We offer our professional services for projects and implementations. We also have our managed services as well as hosting environment, and we're a reseller of solutions and licensing that's out there across the board. So with that, XenTegra itself was founded by Andy Whiteside. You'll see him here in the big picture. This is the only one picture on the slide. Andy came from Citrix, where he was focused and saw a lack of enablement within the community. There wasn't really anybody pushing within the environment other than this is the solution we're selling you and you go deploy it and there's a partner out there that can deploy it for you. Really what he broke out there and said, we've got to build a community. We've got to make sure that everybody knows about these solutions and the entire environment with the digital workspace. Now, when I say that, that includes EUC and all of our edge solutions down to the endpoints, to the networking, security side of the house, business continuity, user performance, all of that falls within this digital workspace. We also work with you for a strategic plan of your business operations in a cloud migration, whether it's multi-year or solutions-based, however you want to migrate to your cloud side of the house. We offer complimentary gratis micro assessments, high-level environment assessments. You can find, again, the link on our page covers those micro assessments and what we do out there. As far as EUC solutions, networking, Citrix networking, database, iGel, all of this is wrapped in with our micro assessments. Our managed services side of the house, we do just that. We'll manage your environment, whether it's in the cloud, in your data center, and also we'll host that solution as well. We can do your EUC solution in our data centers, and you'll encompass all the managed services, reporting, and administration that you want within that environment. And then consulting services, it's something that I help you out with from a pre-implementation standpoint, working on finding the best fit solution from there. Now, myself, John Splone, Solutions Architect within XenTegra. I've got 20 plus years, 26 plus years within the industry. I've come from Citrix, where I worked with the global enablement team, working with EUC in the cloud, enabling Citrix technical resources, our partners and our customers as far as cloud solutions for EUC and Citrix cloud solutions are concerned. I've been everywhere from the IT roles all the way up to consultant, enablement, training, all of that encompassed within my position here. Dad jokes, the three whippersnappers. So one of the good ones, I got a paper. Did you hear about the paper? I got a good dad joke about that. Well, never mind, it's terrible. Anywho, and then I also possess a Zen-like balance between my geekery and nerdery as far as technology and solutions are concerned. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Jeremy and Jason from HYCU. Good morning, guys. Thank you. Appreciate you being here with us today to be able to present to us as far as ransomware in a digital workspace. So Jeremy, again, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks, John. Make sure you can hear me.
We got you.
Awesome. So always off to a good start. We got an audio check. Make sure we can share my screen.
We got it.
Cool. All right. So appreciate everyone joining us today. Um, like John introduced himself, I am Jeremy Klinger. I'm a solution architect here at HYCU. Been here just about 9 months now, and kind of like John, I grew up in a multitude of different roles prior to coming to HYCU. Been in many different roles throughout my career, a lot on the customer side, and got into solution architects about 5-6 years ago, and have enjoyed that experience. But was looking for a place where I could land that had a good cloud story, and found HYCU here earlier this year, and I really believe that they've got a great story that I hopefully can share with you well today, and help you how to or help you learn how to protect some of your data as we go along here. So just a little bit about HYCU. Founded back in 2017, but we've had 2 rounds of funding. Most recently, a couple months ago, but we're primarily backed by Bain Capital with some other investments from some other well-known companies there. But we got our start. If you're not familiar with HYCU, it actually stands for Hybrid Cloud Uptime. So essentially, we saw this vision for data protection without the need for all of the legacy types of solutions. So we're built around this model that we don't need complicated processes to protect your data, and we can transform that just not from your basic enterprise cloud on-prem, but also to the public clouds. And you see the list of hyperscalers there on the screen. So enabling you to protect that data across all those different models and doing it in a secure manner is really what HYCU is focused on today. Our headquarters is actually in Boston, more than 300 employees globally. I think that number is actually over 400 by this point. But like I mentioned, we are purpose-built for on-prem and public cloud solution as a service applications. And we've got a global presence, well over 3,000 customers globally today, have a large engineering presence in Europe, and headquarters in Boston, like I mentioned, but also have an office in Austin, Texas as well. But how can we help you today? Because that's really what we're here to talk about today. So not only can we do your traditional cloud backups that start in your on-premise environment, we can also help you lift and shift those workloads to the public cloud. So spend a lot of time talking with customers about what I call the smoking crater scenario of how do we get that data from your traditional data center to the cloud in the event of a true disaster. That's what HYCU is really good at, helping you with that process. But beyond that, once you've got your workloads either running in the cloud, whether it's because of a disaster or you've decided to re-architect those applications to be a cloud native application, that's where HYCU really shines, and we can protect those applications in the cloud natively without having, again, to deploy those proxies or agents or traditional types of backup infrastructure. And really why we're here today too is we can help you ransom-proof protect those backups. So we've done a number of different things that help you to get those air gap copies of your backups and store them in an immutable copy. So your data is safe from ransomware. So today I want to really kind of talk about 4 different use cases. And the first one is really securing your backup infrastructure. That's really about how do we set up things like multi-tenancy, how do we integrate with your platform to do that in a secure and automated process, right? Use case number 2 is that what I just mentioned in air gapping your backups, and being able to shield that data from anything that could go wrong in your environment. So we can help you identify some of that suspicious behavior, and then be able to help you recover that data from a secure and immutable source. Third case I want to talk about is just having the ability to recover in the event of a disaster, and whether the disaster is physical or ransomware. How do we prepare you to fail over that infrastructure to a public cloud or back to your on-prem infrastructure? And then finally, use case number 4 is essentially assuring that you've got the ability to have ransom-free backups. So helping you again to ensure that you're monitoring the environment and being able to spot any suspicious behavior before it can impact the environment. So looking at use case number 1, we sat down and we took a look at this use case. Came out with some key areas to really consider. How do you assure that your data is not reachable by ransomware? Point number 2 there, the complexity of your backup infrastructure, right? Our CEO has been sharing this model of in the past we had this 6-sided dice that we had to protect, and today that dice is more like 150 sides. So how do you help protect that data and secure it as these as a service applications continue to grow and thrive in your environment? So there's a couple ways we can do that, right? It's starting with air gapping some of your backup security. That's where our agentless backup architecture really comes into play. So we don't need to consistently maintain agent versions. We don't need databases to manage specific updates. It's really about simplifying your environment and making it as seamless as possible while working and ensuring integrity of your data. We can do that, and we deliver this process in what we would define as a black box for your on-prem workloads. We tightly integrate around a secure Linux appliance, very lightweight footprint on your environment, just a couple cores, a few gigs of memory, and we can begin protecting. Most of the customers I work with, if we go to install a trial or proof of concept, we usually are up and running inside of an hour, protecting workloads, being able to protect that data and secure it. And while we were designing our from the ground architecture, we built multi-tenancy into the core. So we've enabled things like single sign-in, multi-factor authentication. And we've gone to those roles of being able to delegate least privilege as much as we possibly can, wherever we can, so that we can protect that data again, even from the inside. We also take security very seriously. So across the board, we're doing in transit and at source encryption. That prevents unauthorized eyes from taking a peek at your data, and we give you the ability to control those keys as well. So it's totally managed by you. HYCU does not want to own your data. We do not want to have anything that would appear to be suspicious from a HYCU's perspective. And lastly here, for use case number 1, we're going to go ahead and disable the ability for your users to delete your backups. So that's going to help protect you from accidental deletions. and expiration. So that is baked into our product, where the software is going to define your expiration policies for you. Continuing along here, when we're looking at the air-gapped security for use case number 1, we do have IAM support across our platform, so that we are using your cloud provider's access management platform to be able to inherit all the security policies that you've already defined. And then that also allows us to securely integrate with any of the platforms that you may have. So we're going to use all the standards and APIs that are available to be able to secure the platform in the manner that you so choose. And then we also have the ability to back up segment your backup network, so that you can begin to isolate that data and further secure it for complete air-gap security. And everything that I just talked about here is all built into HYCU. It's nothing you need to go out and buy individually or license separately. This all comes as part of the core product. So moving on to use case number 2, and tamper-proofing your backups. So again, we took some time to think about some of the key considerations here, and what we would challenge your admins to consider is, can you guarantee that your backups can't be deleted or encrypted? And I think the vast majority of you would probably say no, I could never guarantee something like that. But again, beyond just ransomware, you've got to protect from malicious actors inside your own environment, disgruntled employees, or folks who may have a reason to benefit from insider information. You've got to protect yourself and your environment from those threats as well. So there's a way that HYCU chose to protect that data here for our second use case, and essentially you get the freedom of choice when it comes to how you want to back up your data in an immutable manner. We like to recommend worm-based immutable backups. That tends to be one of the industry's leading standards today, and that is essentially, as HYCU is performing the backup of your data, we're going to copy and archive all that data into a worm-locked bucket. And that's supported across all hypervisors and physical servers, as well as an S3 bucket as well. So as you think back to our story of whether the data is on-prem or in the cloud, we can protect all of that data, and we can protect it in a worm-enabled fashion. And then lastly, as I touched on, you've got your choice of worm. So it's not only a hyperscaler, but we support any object-based S3 type of backup as a target. So I've got customers with on-prem S3. I've got customers writing to cloud targets. There's a number of open source products out there in the marketplace as well that can deliver worm-enabled storage. And truly, the message is it's your choice, and you get to decide and control your data. So as I was just mentioning here, here's a better build out of some of those solutions that we can work with in terms of the immutable storage. We partner heavily with Nutanix, but also non-Nutanix there is ESX, but then the three main hyperscalers too in Google, Azure, and AWS. So There's a lot of different methods, and that's kind of the key takeaway here from this slide. Oh, all right, to keep moving on here. So moving on to use case number 3. So on-site and off-site ransomware recovery. Again, taking a look at some of the key considerations that we came up with. You know, as we've gone around the industry, we've talked to customers, we've seen what else is out in the marketplace. We're understanding that it's about 2+ weeks for a customer to recover their applications and workloads after a ransomware attack. And a lot of times, we're finding that customers have to completely rebuild their physical on-prem environment as well. Recently worked with a customer who had a Nutanix environment that their hypervisor actually had been encrypted, and they had to completely rebuild the physical cluster to be able to just begin recovering their data. So that can be quite a painful process. That was about 3 weeks for that customer. But generally, I'm sure your businesses would probably not be too thrilled to not have access to their data for 2 to 3 weeks. Bullet point number 2 there. Most of us have experience in high availability disaster recovery. That's probably not a good ability to rely on for ransomware recovery, because now if we're replicating encrypted data, we're truly not protecting it. We've got the data replicated somewhere else, and that's great, but if it's still encrypted, there's still no way for us to get that data back. And key question number 3 there, we talked to a lot of folks who have shied away from spending extra money on ransomware recovery because they've seen it as an additional cost. But we've got some effective partnerships there in the marketplace with all of our ability to protect that data, like I had just talked about in use case number 2. So cost really shouldn't be an issue here. Thinking about losing 2 weeks of access to your data for the business is probably going to be a much more costly event than actually putting a ransomware recovery mechanism in place. So HYCU's answer to all of these questions is really we've designed this warm disaster recovery, which I'll talk about a little bit here. And one of the ways we do that is we have this ability to easily back up your data to a public cloud. Again, agentless ability to fail over from an on-prem workload to a public cloud. But we can also provide cross-hypervisor disaster recovery. So, for instance, if you've got a ESX today and you need to maybe migrate to AHV, we can support that, or in a cross hypervisor scenario, in case you've got the loss of a physical site and need to recover to a completely different hypervisor. We also have the ability to leverage instant snapshot based recovery. So we can leverage native immutable snapshots to provide for that near instant recovery of your data. And then we've got the ability to flexibly recover your data, whether that's the full entire virtual machine, a virtual disk, individual files or folders, or even down to the database level. That is something that we are able to enable your environment to recover. And then we've got this concept of one-click simplicity for data recovery. We've tried to make the process for the administrators as easy as possible, so that there's less time spent worrying about trying to recover that data. So how do we deliver that? We do it in a number of different ways across all these major platforms. We can certainly support cross hypervisors like I already talked about, but then also across cloud scalars as well. So we can recover into Google and then shift your workloads into Azure if that need would arise. All right, so we've talked about 3 use cases already here, and use case 4 is really about assuring ransom-free backups. This is getting beyond just protecting your data, but how do we assure that ransomware doesn't get into your backups? So again, the questions we talked about internally here is what does the environment, what does it look like if ransomware happens? How do we prevent that from actually happening? And how do you recover from that? How do you say to your CTO, hey, yes, we have a clean restorable copy in case we do get hit? So those are some of the things that we talked about as we were putting this presentation together. So HYCU's got a wide number of ways that we can help with this pain point. Generally the most accepted one here is, we're going to help you identify those unusual change rates. So in the event that a VM or physical machine all of a sudden becomes 100% change rate, hey, that's a pretty good indicator that we've got a ransomware attack going on. So we can help alert the team and help you recover the data from that event. We've also got the ability to do policy-based backup validations. So we've got your backup process established. Now let's go ahead and run validations on that, and let's do it every day to make sure that your backups are valid and can be restored. And we can definitely help you along those lines in terms of delivering on that promise to be able to recover that data. And lastly here, all of our processes are API based, and our API is completely open. So you can write directly into our API driven interface to be able to work with your third-party support tools to help prevent any kind of ransomware attacks and perform the additional reporting that your organization might require. So I think that's all that I've got for today. Jason, were there any questions that popped up?
There were a few I addressed, but all good otherwise.
Great.
I did have one question real quick. I know you mentioned earlier about the black box that you would need to have on-prem. Do you also need to have that within your cloud provider as well?
Great question. And the answer is no. In the cloud, HYCU works as a true data protection platform. So you can go to the Google Marketplace or Azure or AWS Marketplace today and actually subscribe to HYCU, and we will spin up a virtual instance for you. And that is completely managed by HYCU, so there's no worrying about patches or updates or maintenance. Simply, we use a subscription type model, and there's a service account that gets created to be able to interface with your specific projects.
Awesome. Thanks. No, that's really helpful. With that, I believe that's it for our questions. And I want to thank both you, Jason and Jeremy, for being here. Real quick, while I've got everybody here, our schedule for October and November of this year. We have webinars coming up. We have 1026 Logic Monitor, Deep Instinct on November 2nd. No B4 on November 9th. Liquidware on November 15th. XenTegra on November 16th. So you're lucky you're getting a Tuesday and a Wednesday there. And Cameo on 11:30. You'll see there Logic Monitor and Liquidware both start at different times than our normal 1 p.m. So make sure you adjust. And for our workshops and boot camps this month and November, we have Nutanix 101 workshop, which will be 10/21, and the Nutanix Files workshop, which will be November 18th. So if you want to attend those, be sure to check out on our events landing page, and you can sign up for those. Also want to remind everybody, work has no boundaries. You can use the QR code to enter, or else go to our main page and you'll see the contest entering there. Once you go to that page, you'll be able to see information of what you need to meet for requirements to be entered for the contest to win a Ford Bronco. So woohoo, you can go off-roading and really take work any place, anywhere, at any time. So again, with that webinar Wednesday, Jason, Jeremy, thank you so much from HYCU being here to present the solution. I'm sure we'll have some more questions pop up. I know afterwards we'll be posting this on our YouTube page. So definitely if there's additional comments or questions, please feel free to reach out on YouTube and we'll make sure to get those addressed as well. Thank you everybody for your time. I appreciate it and have a great week. Bye.